Welcome to the Consultants Way podcast, your go-to resource for all things professional services consulting. Brought to you by McMann and Ransford, a strategy consulting firm with over 30 years of experience helping B2B organizations achieve sustainable growth, and the Consultants Way, the leading comprehensive consultant development program. Hosted by Dean McMann and Anthony Paluska, we share expert insights, firsthand experiences, and conversations with industry leaders on the topics that interest you most.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of their employer, company, or affiliated organizations.
Welcome back to the Consultants Way podcast. Anthony Paluska, Dean McMann. How are you today, Dean?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for asking.
Good.
How are you?
You seem at your normal spot. I'm in the location du jour. It's I got a nice orange background or whatever it is.
You have more personal complexity and living spaces right now than anybody I know.
I can always find a quiet room to record in, but it's always a different room. And
today, how many living spaces are you actually involved in right now? So I count it. Wait, 4.
No, it's not that many. It just feels like that many because I'm always between all of them. But no, this is not even a living space. This is just a space to do some recording. So
it's a space near a living space.
That's true. That is very true. So all that aside, on today's show we have Greg Meeks joining us here in just a second. Greg's got a lot of experience as he'll talk a little bit about on professional services. Most recently as a PS executive at a SaaS organization at Dark Matter Technologies. But Greg is now off trying to do good for the professional services community, and he's introduced a kind of a framework of the first mile and beyond about how to grow and scale PS organizations. I think specifically focused around SaaS, but a lot of the lessons that he talks about in here are applicable across the board. Dean, would you call anything out, one or two big takeaways for the listeners to pay attention to as we introduce Greg here in just a second?
Yeah. So first of all, there's different people or work on this topic and from a different point of view. And one of the things that I think we'll find out today is taking a methodology approach and being methodical about it and organized and deliberate and being able to help at each stage is, I think, a real benefit, whether you get everything he's doing, if he was helping you, and whether you dot all the I's, cross all the T's. I think his program is very effective. And I like that. Also, he is very keyed in, I think we'll pick up today, he's very keyed in on your responsibility to your people. And I think that's very important if you want people bought in and motivated in turn. So I think we're going to learn a lot, both on, methodologies to use and also how important the people are.
Yeah. His framework on, he had 3 components, right? Clarity, engagement, and empowerment of your people in order to get the most out of them, to have them aligned to the organization's goals, and then everybody to thrive in that situation is one that I think is a very powerful and simple framework to think about because we all live in that space, but just having some labels to place on those 3 different pieces that are all critical, I think is important. So we're excited to share the conversation that we have with Greg today, and hope everybody enjoys it as well. So we'll kick it to Greg. Hey, Greg, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you here. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your background and experience, and then introduce the topic that we're going to spend a little bit of time on.
Anything interesting about your childhood, first date, whatever.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Childhood first date. I'm not prepared for that one.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have her come on in a minute.
This is your life, Greg Meeks.
Yes, wouldn't that be the worst of all things?
Oh, my goodness.
We wouldn't have a lot of future guests.
I've been in professional services for 25 years, serving a lot of different roles, going back to starting a e-commerce company and being VP of operations there, building a greenfield operations group. And that's from pre-sales, post-sales, support, everything. to working internally for large Fortune 50 companies as an internal consultant, where your clients are internal leadership and division heads, and working on both strategy type stuff. What is the right solution or solutions to approach a problem? And then also on the execution side, right? You've got the execution. Here's the solution. How do we do it? How do we get it in there and work with all the functions to make it happen? I worked at boutique consulting firm for a while, having external clients. And then most recently, I've been in, about 12 years of B2B SaaS, working for a very complex product delivery that takes months to deliver. It is custom or customizable, configurable for each client. And then the last few months, I've been spending my time doing a lot of networking and getting my thoughts around building the ideal implementation, onboarding, professional services organization for a complex B2B product delivery. And so I've got my own firm now, and I work with both B2B companies and then also their equity partners on building a world-class organization, whether that's from scratch or whether that's reinventing what they have in place already.
Yeah, I love that you've termed it the first mile and beyond. I think that is a very exact and catchy way to talk about it.
Good deal. Thank you. Yeah, that first mile, right? In the customer journey, you hear a lot about the sales funnel and all the different things that to take part in getting in a client or a potential client in the door as an actual customer. And then once you've got them in as a customer, there's a lot of things to do, especially for a product like a very complex B2B product that takes weeks, months to implement. In many cases, you've spent all kinds of money acquiring the customer, and you don't break even on that customer and make money until you've got them onboarded. They adopt fully your system. They understand it. It's usable. They're getting value from it. They appreciate the value. They expand their product delivery. They want to use more of your products. They renew with you. So it's not sometimes for a few years after you get them in the door that you're actually making money. So that first mile is really important, right? You don't want to lose clients during that first part. You want to make sure they're getting value quickly and efficiently. You want to make it easy, and you want to set up the rest of your journey, their journey with you successfully. It's really an important piece to a lot of companies now.
Yeah, so talk maybe a little bit about how that translates to the professional services world, right? Growing and scaling a professional services business. What's the first mile and beyond look like for that?
Well, professional services spans so much, right? Really, the definition of professional services is so broad and wide. But in onboarding and in delivering the implementation of that, those are professional services professionals that are doing that, right? And they're the same people that are actually working with clients later to expand the product offering, deliver new releases, new enhancements, help sell, help identify new values, to take on new products and new service offerings. So that's it's very much a professional services organization. And if you look at it, especially in the model where you're getting paid after the client is live, whether that's subscription or transaction based, you're really tied to those professional services folks are tied to the revenue. And looking at the onboarding and implementation professional services team as a revenue generator instead of a cost center is a huge paradigm shift for a lot of companies.
Do you think that SaaS companies are going down that road en masse to begin to look at PS as a revenue source, not a cost center?
A different degree, yes, they absolutely are. Some are, some still are not. But that's the reason why I developed my firm. There's a big gap in a lot of companies have been doing things the same way for a long time, and they haven't picked their head up as much to look around to see how the professional services, the onboarding has evolved. and what other companies, what their competitors are doing, what technologies are available, what other industries are doing, right? But at the end of the day, for B2B SaaS, regardless of the industry, if it's a very involved product and implementation, it really doesn't matter what the actual product is, right? You've got a repeatable standard process that needs to be flexible, that if you don't do it well, you're risking a lot of revenue and the loss of a lot of revenue. And you're helping determine to what extent your clients are going to adopt your system and how many products they're going to expand to use. So out there, it's a good window right now. I think more and more companies are evolving, and it depends too on the equity partners and on their goals, right? If there's certain equity partners out there that onboarding isn't that important, they're solely focused on ARR, right? They want to get a multiple up and sell, but onboarding implementation can be a big revenue generator. It can really impact that ARR, right? Maybe not so much in the short term, much more so in the long term. So I think it's as SaaS companies mature and they need to turn into real, right, profitable companies instead of looking and focusing in on that ARR and a sales price. That's when I'm seeing a lot of people that are really trying to refine and move their professional services organizations to that next level.
Yeah, and you might say this term's incorrect. We use the term late stage SaaS. If the land grabs over and you've got to, and I loved your leaning into if you're going to be a real business and not a stock play, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good. What are some of the mistakes in early stage PS makes in that journey? I know you're an expert on that.
I've dealt with a lot of early stage companies, and in that early stage, you really don't have that delivery expertise, right? You've got a product that you had to develop, and you've worked with a couple of clients to get it working and dial it in and make sure you've got something that is of value. And then it's time to scale, right? And when you're ready to scale, you need to really look at, how am I going to do that? How am I really going to deliver an excellent customer experience as quickly and easily as possible and be able to do it multiple times to get many customers up and running, right? Because ultimately you want your customers to adapt your product, use it to its full extent, look at you all as trusted advisors, and then look to expand with new products and how to do their business better and to become a true partner, a long-term partner.
Yeah. So to that last point, right, as an organization evolves, it moves from being single product focused and it can build that trusted advisory relationship, but actually extracting the most value out of that relationship and benefiting the organization in the most ways really doesn't come until you've added multiple products to your portfolio or other things that you can sell, right? You can get them onboarded faster, you can get quicker time to value, you can maybe even secure renewals and some sustained revenue through that. But real expansion comes as you grow from one product to multiple. What are some of the biggest things that has to change about a PS organization when the business shifts from one product to now offering multiple different things?
Uh, well, there's whether you expand organically and build a new product, whether you acquire another product, or whether you alter your existing product for a different vertical, right? You have that challenge of you're expanding your product set, and you've got a people, process, technology aspect of it. That I go back to my framework, the people, process, technology, because there's aspects to each. So the challenge is when let's say you acquire a new company, is you need to integrate the people into your organization. So that's a big piece culturally, and making sure that you've got their roles defined well and that they're integrated into the culture. And then you've got the process and technology piece where you want to standardize and use the same language with the delivery of that product, right? Because you're going to have standalone product delivery, And then you're also going to probably bundle it for new clients, right? You're going to deliver both services or both products at the same time to make sure that you are coming across as one company and one solution when you do those bundled deliveries. That's an important piece too. And then the technology too to deliver it. You've got to standardize and make sure everybody's using the same tools and they're uh, all marching in the same direction. There's a component of each one of those aspects for integrating a new company, a new product into your organization.
One thing we see, and I'd love you to comment if our view is correct or incorrect, is there's an awful lot of PS leaders because they haven't experienced enough other things, right? They wake up one day and they're the PS leader, that they kind of just go with the organization, the area of least resistance, right? And which is different than standout leaders that we've seen educate their company and put a lot of effort into explaining how the business is being used, how it can be used, what's really going on, why giving away services in some instances isn't a good idea. Sometimes, the complexity. Do you and now that you're out helping these PS leaders, do you see that as a problem? Their experiential ability to play a more sophisticated role because they may have only done this in one company.
Yeah, or they haven't either. They've only done it at one company, or that they haven't. Maybe I've seen where they don't experience that leadership role specifically for implementation and professional services, right? They're coming in because they were part of the smaller company and they inherited maybe onboarding, implementation, PS. And there's a lot of aspects of being a PS leader that are really important. And I would say the foundation of those three pieces, people, process, technology, the people piece is really the foundation, right? If you look at it, the way I look at it is a pyramid, right? Like Maslow's pyramid, where you need a foundation that's really solid, and then you build upon that. You guys have more experience, both breadth and depth, than I do. You've worked with so many different companies and helping them develop a world-class professional services organization. What would you put at the bottom of that pyramid of those three?
Oh, we would probably argue that I divide the bottom of the pyramid into two, and one would be your talent needs to know what to do and when to do it and how to. We always say it's like a professional baseball player that plays shortstop. When the ball comes to her, she needs to know what to do with the ball now because PS is done live in front of the client. The other thing is consistency and repeatability, so that we're not investing effort in stuff that's already known. We're investing effort in the things that are unknown. And if you begin to think that way and work that way and act like that, it becomes easier as you grow and as you add more levels of talent and more levels of complexity and more offers. If the ideal organization has offers that build executive intimacy and pull through product and have big projects, right? And that's three different businesses, but you got to get those bases. And I think when you and I met, you talked about that kind of the same way. You can't over make up for that. Everything can't be a one-off, right? And we're going to do it this way, and our people don't have the luxury of going back to talk to their boss every day. Clients like answers, right? So yeah, but that's why, Greg, I think it's a wonderful business. It's a profession instead of a role.
Right? Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
And as a leader, I think you're accountable for that team, right? The onboarding team, their development, and in my eyes and in my framework, there's three key components, and it comes down to clarity, engagement, and empowerment. And I think you can put everything in those three. And with that foundation of having a solid team, clarity is kindness. I've heard that, and I grabbed onto that because, like you said, Dean. If the shortstop doesn't know what the shortstop's supposed to do, they're not going to do it, right? Or if they do it wrong, you can't get on them about it because it's your fault as the coach that you didn't you didn't properly
How
tell
did
them.
they not know what to do? Right. That's
Right.
coach's problem. How did you not know what to do? Yeah.
Right. And so if there's an employee problem or issue ever, you've got to ask yourself as a leader, are they not clear on what they're supposed to do? Or is it a will or skill thing? Right?
Right.
Do they not have the will to do it, or do they not have the skill? And that's where empowerment and engagement come in, right? As a leader, you need to do both. You need to empower them. You need to trust them and support them, give them the tools, the training, right? Like I know you offer the training programs for professional services, and that's like, this is your role, right? Your role is to in part sell, and this is how you do it, right? And
Yeah.
or to develop IP or to implement. You've got to have that clarity, give them empower them with the tools and the training that they need, and to build that skill set, right? And then the engagement, you alluded to that a little bit too, is they've got to feel engaged, connected, right? Emotional connection to the company's the business goals, and how their work contributes to those goals, right? And so you've got to engage them. You've got to keep them updated of products coming in. You want them engaged in regular conversation, and make them feel part of a team.
Yeah.
Those are
We
the
all
key
want to be
pieces.
part of something bigger than ourselves. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And it's exciting that you're out helping people right now, and you've decided to, instead of just taking another leadership role, you're actually going to pour back in. I know you're young, but you still have a lot of experience, and you're going to pour that back into other companies. It's been great. Tell us just a couple of things about, when do you know your PS organization needs to make a big adjustment? What are the indicators that, oh, guys, we got to really, change here?
Well, you can see it in both numbers and in what they're spending their time on, right? You can see it in, does an organization, can they even tell you what their net promoter score is? Do they even know what their time to value is, right? By customer segment or product implementation. If they can't tell that instantly, they're they don't have the tools that they need to measure where they are and to measure improvement, right? Um, so that's a key piece, is making sure that. And then the other indicators, soft indicators, is you've got, in a professional services organization, you've got a tremendous amount of knowledge and talent. And when those folks are working on chasing all those administrative, uh, mundane activities, chasing down tasks, right? Chasing the client down for, hey, you're supposed to get this done. Is it done? Um, Trying to just all of that, trying to create a report to understand, piece all the things together to understand where we're at, answering client questions, dealing with escalations, firefighting, all of that stuff, BS, if you will. They shouldn't have to be doing that. They should be elevated, right? Their roles, they're the face of the client, right? These people are on the ground. They are your brand,
That's
right?
right.
They're wearing the hat that with your brand on it, and they are giving the client the experience that is they're going to remember, right? And so it's an important role, and you want them to do the work. You want them to get the information from the client and have these feedback loops, right? They have the knowledge of what the system does well and what it doesn't. You need to. It's not all about utilization, right? So if I need 90% billable utilization. Maybe in some cases that's true, but I would argue, as you give them the tools, the processes, the technology to do really, really well, succeed really well, they have more time. And instead of just throwing them back in to do 4 projects, 5, 6, 7 at a time, which there's some of that, but they should be contributing to the greater good as well. They should be working closer with product, and they should have goals that are on improvement of the product. They should be working upstream with sales and making sure that sales is aligned with us downstream. And there's so many more value-added tasks that the same amount of people can do if you just allocate and give them the the power to go in and make these suggestions and make things better.
Yeah, efficiency really matters because we want their time spent on high thought things. And when we
Right.
waste their time, one, we lose them, but we sure don't develop them. Right. Yeah.
Not everybody does, right? We don't do the right job. And that's
Yeah.
part of what I want to help.
I do love when you said that I'm wearing a hat, but the brand is right there. And we talk to executives all the time and non-PS executives above them, and particularly in the SaaS world. And they don't clearly understand that always, that the financials are an outcome. What's going on in front of your customers and your clients is the driver. And there's a direct correlation to their experiential with them to how long they're going to be clients, right? And how they talk about them. Yeah. Anyway, hey, this has been wonderful. Leave us with your a thought you would give to every PS leader just to keep in their back pocket.
Oh gosh, I think the takeaway at the end of the day for professional services leaders, it's important to take a step back and reevaluate the whole, right? Look, you're so into your business, right? You're managing your business and making sure that things are going okay, but it takes that allocation of time to take a step back, look at how are things going, how are my employees feeling, how do other people do it? What are best practices across my industry, across other industries? What tools are available technology wise that I could be leveraging better to get more out of my folks, right? To do better on my folks. Better said, I think, because you're going to be advancing their career, not necessarily be doing more, more and more projects. There's some of that, but helping them build a career and have a bigger impact than what they would if they're just executors or firefighters.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to.
That was great, Greg. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for joining us today. We've learned a lot.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Okay, Anthony, take us home.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. If you all enjoyed the conversation that we had today and want to hear more just like it, like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube or the podcast channels, or go back and look at the past episodes, and feel free to like and favorite those as well. And we'll make sure that you get a new episode every Monday if you do that. If you want to contact Dean or myself, the easiest way to do that is through our LinkedIn pages. You can reach out to us there and we'll respond quickly, or you can always email the show at podcast@consultantsway.com. And we look forward to hearing from everybody, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.